3 goals, 13 minutes. Manchester City's title hopes crumbling in real time at Goodison Park. Thieno, Barry again, then Jake O'Brien with a header, 3-1. And Pep Guardiola standing on that touchline, both hands pressed against his head, staring at a scoreboard that told him everything he did not want to know. Haaland pulled one back. Doku scored in stoppage time to make it 3-3, but it was too late. The damage was done. Manchester City dropped points tonight when they could not afford. And in that moment, the Premier League title did not just shift in Arsenal's direction, it landed in their hands. Arsenal 76 points, Manchester City 71, 5 points, 3 games left for Arsenal to play. 3 wins and this club ends a 22-year wait. The title race is no longer a race, it is now Arsenal's to lose. Let us drop straight into it. Monday night, Goodison Park. Manchester City travel to Everton needing nothing less than a win to keep their Premier League title hopes serious. And then it happens. City concede 3 goals. 3 goals in 13 minutes. The whole race changes. Jeremy Doku put Manchester City ahead in the first half. At that point, things looked comfortable. Pep Guardiola's side were in control, and then Everton struck. Thieno Barry scored twice. Jake O'Brien added a header. In the space of 13 minutes, City went from 1-0 up to 1-3 down. The stadium erupted. And somewhere in North London, every Arsenal supporter felt it. Erling Haaland pulled one back immediately to make it 2-3, but it was not enough to stop the collapse. Doku scored again with virtually the last kick of the game to make it 3-3, a draw. Manchester City drew 3-3 at Everton on a night they simply could not afford to drop points. The result leaves Manchester City on 71 points from 34 games. Arsenal sit on 76 points from 35 games. That is a 5-point gap. The title race is no longer in Manchester City's hands. It is now firmly, clearly and unmistakably in Arsenal's. Now, here is what I need you to understand before we go any further. This is not just about a 5-point gap on a Monday evening in May. This is about what that gap means mathematically and structurally for the rest of this season. Arsenal have 3 games left. West Ham away, Burnley at home, Crystal Palace away. Manchester City have 4 games left. Brentford, Crystal Palace, Bournemouth and Aston Villa. The reality for Arsenal is this. If they win all 3 of their remaining Premier League games, they will be crowned Premier League champions. It does not matter what Manchester City do. It does not matter if City win all 4 of theirs. Arsenal winning their final 3 fixtures makes them champions. That is the scale of what happened tonight at Everton. This is a massive moment. And if you want this level of analysis on Arsenal every single time something like this happens, please hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications. This channel exists to give you the full picture on Arsenal. No noise, no filler, just real analysis. We are in the most important week in Arsenal's season in over 20 years. 2 trophies are in sight simultaneously, and I am going to break down every layer of this story for you right now. So make sure you are subscribed because there is a lot more coming. Let us now go through everything that has happened today, piece by piece. I want to start with the social media reaction, then move into the Champions League build-up and close with what Tuesday night against Atletico Madrid could mean. The Manchester City collapse at Everton. Let us revisit the table one more time so everything is crystal clear. And Daily AFC posted the updated standings immediately after the final whistle, and the numbers speak for themselves. Arsenal sit in first position with 76 points, 41 goal difference, 67 goals scored from 35 matches played. Manchester City are second with 71 points, 37 goal difference, 69 goals scored from 34 matches played. Read that again. Arsenal are 5 points clear. They have played 1 more game, they have a better goal difference, and they only need 3 wins from their remaining 3 fixtures to win the title, regardless of what City do. This is the situation, this is where we are, and it did not happen by luck. Now, Fabrizio Romano posted a photograph tonight that tells you everything you need to know about Pep Guardiola's state of mind. The image shows Guardiola on the touchline at Goodison Park with both hands pressed against his head, eyes wide, looking like a man watching his season disintegrate in real time. That moment came as Manchester City conceded 2 goals in 5 minutes. That image is the image of a man who knows exactly what his team have done to their own title hopes. Manchester City scored first, then they conceded 3. Then they managed 2 late goals to avoid losing, but drawing at Everton, a result that would not have seemed catastrophic earlier in the season, now feels like a devastating blow. The evidence suggests that Manchester City's inconsistency over the second half of this season has cost them dearly. This is not one bad night, this is a pattern, and Arsenal have capitalised on it. The Kalshi odds and what they tell us Connor Hum highlighted tonight that Kalshi, the prediction market platform, now gives Arsenal an 83% chance of winning the Premier League title. Manchester City are at 15%. Aston Villa, who are still mathematically in the picture, sit at just 1%. 83% is not a certainty, but it reflects the overwhelming probability of what the standings are now showing. Arsenal's destiny is in their own hands. That phrase gets used loosely in football. Tonight, it is mathematically correct. Connor Hum also made a simple but powerful observation. West Ham away, Burnley at home, Crystal Palace away. 3 more wins, Arsenal's first Premier League title in 22 years. 22 years. The last time Arsenal won the league was 2004, the Invincibles. And here, in May of 2026, Arsenal have 3 games to do what every supporter has been dreaming of since that Invincibles season ended. The scheduling of those final fixtures is also worth noting. Manchester City play Brentford and then Crystal Palace before the end of the week. But Crystal Palace may well be exhausted or rotated ahead of their Conference League final. Similarly, Arsenal face Crystal Palace on the final day, and Palace could be a few days removed from European football at that point. The fixture scheduling across this final stretch of the season adds another layer of complexity, but the fundamental truth remains. Arsenal win 3 games, Arsenal are champions. Atletico Madrid switch hotels, Simeone's mind games or something else. Now, shifting to the Champions League, tomorrow night, Arsenal host Atletico Madrid at the Emirates Stadium in the second leg of the Champions League semi-final. The tie is level, 1-1 from the first leg in Spain. Everything is still to play for. And just before tonight's games, Arsenal Muse broke a story that immediately caught the attention of the football world. Atletico Madrid, under the direct instructions of Diego Simeone, have switched hotels ahead of the second leg. They have left the hotel they stayed in during their 4-0 defeat to Arsenal back in October. That 4-0 game, that result, Simeone clearly does not want any association with that memory entering this second leg. Now, when Fabrizio Romano followed up on this story, he put the question directly to Simeone himself in a press conference. The question was simple. Did you change hotel because of superstition? Simeone smiled, he laughed, and he said, quote, "The reason is that this new hotel is cheaper. It was a brilliant deflection. Funny, quick, and completely in character for a man who has spent decades understanding how to manage pressure and perception." Whether Simeone genuinely changed hotels for superstition, budget reasons, or psychological preparation for his players, the fact is that the move is being talked about everywhere. And that tells you how seriously Atletico Madrid are taking this game. The situation is that Atletico Madrid, a European heavyweight managed by one of the most experienced coaches in world football, are treating this second leg with the highest possible seriousness. They know what happened here in October. They do not want any repeat. Victor Gyokeres, the man Arsenal built their season around. If there is one signing that defines Arsenal's season, it is Victor Gyokeres. And ahead of the Atletico second leg, Gyokeres gave several interviews that painted a clear picture of his mentality and his connection to this Arsenal group. Let us go through what he said, one point at a time. On the subject of high-pressure moments, Gyokeres was asked about his experience in big games. He said, "And I am reading exactly what was posted, that he has played in these kinds of moments before, referencing the time with the Swedish national team when they had to win to qualify for the World Cup." He described tomorrow's game as another massive game. That is the mindset of a player who does not shrink in big moments. He has been there before. He knows what it feels like to need a result when everything is on the line. That is not something you can coach. That experience is inside him. On the subject of his goal celebration, Gyokeres spoke warmly and simply. He said, "It is incredible seeing people around the stadium doing his celebration." He described it as good to do it for himself after scoring and added that it is only good vibes. A small comment, but it tells you something important about this player's relationship with the Arsenal fan base. In a short time, he has connected deeply with these supporters. His celebration belongs to them now as much as it belongs to him. On the subject of Bukayo Saka, Gyokeres was generous and specific. He said, and again, I am reading exactly as reported, that when Saka is in this form, it is amazing for him and the other players to have him on the pitch. That kind of public praise from a striker towards a winger speaks to the collective spirit inside this Arsenal squad. These players want to play together. They recognise quality in each other, and that is what gives Arsenal their edge right now. On the subject of Gabriel and William Saliba, Gyokeres went even further. He said he does not think you can find better centre-backs anywhere in training. He called them incredible players and said he feels blessed to train against them every day. He also reflected on the process of joining a new club, integrating into routines, building relationships. He described how it all comes together over time, on and off the pitch. The evidence suggests that Victor Gyokeres has settled into Arsenal Football Club at the deepest level. This is not a player who is still finding his feet. This is a player who feels at home, who trusts his teammates and who is ready to perform on the biggest stages. And finally, on the subject of Martin Odegaard's absence through injury, Gyokeres showed real compassion. He said he wants to be with the team and he can imagine how frustrating the situation is. He referenced his own experience of dealing with injuries and said he knows Odegaard has been trying even when not available. He closed by saying it is only a matter of time before Odegaard returns. That is a teammate speaking with genuine understanding and belief. Mikel Arteta, the manager who built this moment. Mikel Arteta held his pre-match press conference today ahead of the Atletico second leg, and what he said is worth analysing carefully. When asked about the atmosphere and the magnitude of tomorrow's game, Arteta said he cannot wait. He spoke about feeling the energy in and among the squad and the supporters. He referenced the fact that it has taken 20 years for this football club to be back in this position. And he made it clear how hungry this group is to get the result they need and go through to the Champions League final. 20 years. That is the context Arteta himself is choosing to frame this moment in. This is not just another semi-final. This is the product of 2 decades of rebuilding, rethinking and restructuring what Arsenal Football Club is and what it can be. When asked whether he pictures himself lifting the Champions League trophy, Arteta gave an honest and revealing answer. He said he has done it before, referencing his time as a player. He acknowledged that you can never promise to win major trophies. But he said what you can promise is to work every single day with vision and determination and the right decisions to bring a club to the level of the best in Europe. And then he said, quietly but clearly, and here we are, now we have to make the next step. That is not arrogance. That is a man who has done the work, watched the process unfold, and now stands at the door of something historic. And he knows it. On the subject of Bukayo Saka specifically, Arteta was enthusiastic and precise. He said Saka has come back in the most important period of the season. He described him as fresh, mentally sharp and hungry at the highest possible level. He said the pain is gone. Saka felt loose in training, and he concluded with a line that will resonate with every Arsenal supporter. He said, "We have the Bukayo that we need back." That is a manager who knows exactly what this player means to his team and is not shy about saying it. Antoine Griezmann and Atletico's mindset. Arsenal Radar shared comments from Antoine Griezmann ahead of the second leg. When asked whether he believes Atletico still have 2 games left in this competition, a question about whether he expects to reach the final, Griezmann gave a focused and careful answer. He said he only visualises the next game and what the coach asks of him. He said he prefers not to think ahead, but to stay fresh and have the legs to play the game in front of him. He closed by saying he is really looking forward to it. The situation is that Griezmann is a Champions League experienced forward who has been in finals before and who does not underestimate opponents. His focus is completely on Arsenal tomorrow night. That is the threat Arsenal are facing, not a distracted Atletico, not a team looking past this tie, a fully focused, highly motivated Diego Simeone managed Atletico Madrid side that have changed their hotel, prepared meticulously and sent their most dangerous attacker to the press conference, sounding sharp and ready. Arsenal cannot afford to think this will be easy. The first leg finished 1-1 for a reason. Atletico Madrid are dangerous. Arsenal's predicted lineup and the injury picture. Now let us talk about who will actually be on the pitch for Arsenal tomorrow night. Based on the predicted 11 circulating tonight, Arsenal are expected to line up as follows. David Raya in goal. A back four of Ben White on the right, William Saliba and Gabriel at centre-back, and Ricardo Calafiori on the left. In midfield, Martin Zubimendi at the base with Declan Rice and Eberechi Eze ahead of him. And in attack, Bukayo Saka on the right, Victor Gyokeres through the middle and Gabriel Martinelli on the left. That is a strong team, but it is not without compromise. The injury picture heading into this game is a significant concern. 4 first-team players missed Arsenal's final training session today. Martin Odegaard is the biggest absence. He has been fighting to return from injury for weeks now. Gyokeres confirmed that Odegaard is desperate to be involved and is doing everything he can. But based on the training update today, he is not available for tomorrow night. Kai Havertz is also absent. It was hoped he might return, but he was not part of the final training group. Jurriën Timber remains out. And Mikel Merino, whose exclusion was perhaps less surprising given recent form and selection patterns, is also unavailable. 4 absences in a Champions League semi-final second leg. That is a significant disruption. Arteta has to manage without his captain in Odegaard and without Havertz, who had been contributing meaningfully in recent weeks. The key decision in midfield is whether Arteta goes with Martin Zubimendi alongside Declan Rice, or whether he opts for Miles Lewis-Skelly, who has shown real quality when called upon. The predicted 11 suggests Zubimendi gets the nod. If that is the case, Zubimendi's role will be critical. He needs to control tempo, protect the back 4 and allow Rice the freedom to impose himself in the middle third. With Odegaard out, Eberechi Eze keeps the number 10 role. Eze has been involved in the quarter-final win over Sporting and has shown that he can handle big European nights. Tomorrow is the biggest test he has faced in an Arsenal shirt. The left wing spot is also an open question. Arteta has to choose between Leandro Trossard, who performed well against Fulham at the weekend, and Gabriel Martinelli, who delivered strong performances in the earlier rounds of this competition. The predicted 11 points to Martinelli getting the start. Up front, Victor Gyokeres starts. That is not in question. He is the focal point of this Arsenal attack. His physicality, his movement, his hold-up play and his goal-scoring record make him indispensable in a game like this. The Champions League final picture. If Arsenal get past Atletico tomorrow night, they will face either Bayern Munich or Paris Saint-Germain in the final in Budapest. The situation between those two clubs is clear. Their first leg finished 5-4 in favour of Paris Saint-Germain, with the return at the Allianz Arena scheduled for Wednesday evening. That tie is alive and could go either way. Either opponent would represent a massive challenge. Bayern Munich and Paris Saint-Germain are 2 of the biggest clubs in Europe, with squads full of world-class talent. If Arsenal reach that final in Budapest, it will be their first Champions League final in 22 years. Arsenal also face Atletico Madrid, knowing they are simultaneously chasing a Premier League title and a Champions League final place. The next 48 to 72 hours could define this entire era of the club, what this all means. Let me bring everything together for you now. Tonight, Manchester City drew 3-3 at Everton when they needed a win. Arsenal now sit 5 points clear with 3 games to play. If Arsenal win those 3 games, they are Premier League champions for the first time in 22 years. No matter what Manchester City do, tomorrow night, Arsenal face Atletico Madrid at the Emirates in a 1-game shootout for a place in the Champions League final in Budapest. The tie is 1-1 from the first leg. Atletico are prepared, focused and managed by Diego Simeone, one of the best tactical minds in world football. Arsenal go into that game without Odegaard, without Havertz and without Timber. But they have Saka back, they have Gyokeres in form and fully settled into this squad. They have a manager in Arteta who is composed, experienced and hungry. And they have a crowd at the Emirates who will generate an atmosphere that could make a real difference. The evidence suggests this is the most significant week in Arsenal Football Club's history since the Invincible season. 2 trophies in sight, simultaneously. A squad that has been built and developed over years. A manager who has delivered consistent progress season after season. And a moment that could define everything. Gyokeres said it clearly in his press conference. He has been in these moments before, moments where you have to win. And he said tomorrow is going to be another massive game. He is right. Tomorrow is massive. And Arsenal have every reason to believe they are ready for it. That is the full picture for tonight. If you have made it to the end of this video, I want to thank you genuinely. This is the kind of analysis I put everything into, and it means a lot when viewers stay all the way through. If you enjoyed this, please hit the like button right now. It helps this channel reach more Arsenal supporters who want serious analysis. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do it now. Tomorrow, after the Atletico game, I will be back with a full breakdown of whatever happens at the Emirates. This is Melissa from Melissa Arsenal Analyst. Come on, Arsenal.